Hi, and welcome back to the second hour of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Just a couple of more data points. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. A couple of more data points on this assault on the Egyptian embassy and the consulate in Libya. The Muslim Brotherhood, remember, they're running things in Egypt. Huma Ahmadin, who is Hillary Clinton's aide and advisor, she's hip deep up to her earlobes in the Muslim Brotherhood movement, and its supreme guide, well, the Muslim Brotherhood has come out today denouncing the movie that triggered all of this. The guy that made that movie is an Israeli Jew. He refers to Islam as a cancer. He is now in hiding. I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, he knows he has to fear for his life. Why? Because Islam is not a religion of peace. So he's in hiding to protect his very life. Now, the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, let me read this story. Let's see. The Secretary General of the Muslim Brotherhood called for protests to be held on Friday throughout Egypt against the movie. So he's saying what we ought to do is go out and protest this movie. So the Muslim Brotherhood leader, they're not apologizing for this attack on our sovereign soil, this invasion, this act of war. They're not apologizing in the least. They are saying, look, we ought to go out and protest the movie. And he would not condemn the attack on the embassy in Cairo. So that's the Muslim Brotherhood. Rather than showing any kind of repentance, any kind of sorrow, any kind of regret, they're out there saying, look, we ought to just ramp up the protest on Friday night. Now, the CAIR, that's the Council on American Islamic Relations, they had a press conference on the Islamic attacks in Washington, and they blocked a reporter from a conservative website, the Daily Caller, from even coming in to the press conference. They stopped him at the door by calling the Daily Caller, which is nothing more than a conservative website, a hate group, and blocked them from even coming in to the press conference. And let's grab this story. Again, this is from Andy McCarthy at National Review Online. Reuters reports that Egypt's Prime Minister, Hisham Kandil, has said that the government should not be blamed for this film about Mohammed, but Egypt's government is really not sorry about the attack. He says that the attack was regrettable because it's regrettable, not because people rioting over a film is barbaric or savage. It's regrettable because, quote, the people who produced this low film have no relation to the U.S. government. So rioting against the filmmakers is fine. He just doesn't want them rioting against the government because he says, well, the government didn't have anything to do with this. But this is what he says. Listen to this. We ask the American government to take a firm position toward this film's producers within the framework of international charters that criminalize acts that stir strife on the basis of race, color, or religion. So what they're saying, look, we don't hold the U.S. government responsible for this movie, but if they don't treat this as a crime and don't punish this guy, then we are going to have a problem with the U.S. government. So that is Islam on parade. Let's grab a call from James in Victoria, Texas. Been waiting patiently. James, thanks for calling. Thanks for waiting. Tell me what's on your mind.
Yes, Mr. Bryan. I'm a retired Marine captain.
Thank you for your service, sir.
You're very welcome, but that's not what I'm looking for. I want to thank you for carrying the burden and yoke of the truth. The Marine Corps was once in Tripoli when we drove out the Tripoli pirates, and also the Prince of Libya that time gave to the Lieutenant Brian, I think it was, the Mabaluki sword, which all officers and NCOs carry today in their uniform. Mm-hmm. My question is, where were the Marines at that embassy?
Well,
were they out to lunch? Were they on duty? There were 4 people killed there. Why weren't there a dozen Marines killed in front of them?
Well, I don't have an answer to that question, James. I'll tell you, though, what I think is part of it. I know we're sending 50 Marines to Libya, to that consulate. But here's the deal. That consulate...
It's too late.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. I agree with you. And here's the problem. We counted on a Muslim government in Libya to protect the consulate, because here's the deal.
Okay.
That consulate is not like the embassy in Cairo where you got a wall around it. They had to scale the wall to get inside, and I don't know why we weren't shooting people off the top of that wall. That's sovereign soil. That's an invasion. But in Libya, James, that was a consulate. It was just a building that they had sort of turned into a consulate. There was no protection. There's no wall around it. It's just you go out the consulate and you're there on the main street in Benghazi. Okay. And I think they felt they couldn't put Marines out there because it would have inflamed the local Muslim population.
Okay. How about this? What happened to diplomatic immunity?
Well, we're dealing here, James, with now what do you mean by diplomatic immunity, and how are you applying it to this situation?
If you're a diplomat, you're not accused of anything. You're protected by the nation that you're host to.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that what happened to diplomatic immunity for this ambassador?
Yes, Libya was responsible for guarding his life. Yeah,
you're exactly right. That was Libya's responsibility. The host country has a responsibility to protect the property of these embassies and these consulates. They did not do it. And, I think the bottom line, James, is you're looking at the Islamic religion, which has no real respect for the rule of law unless it is Sharia law. So they're not going to have any regard for Western traditions or customs or for the rule of law or for diplomatic immunity.
That's right.
Or for any of that stuff.
We're dealing with a vicious snake, a wild beast, and it's an act of war what they've done. Besides that, I got one last comment.
Yes, sir.
I have to say by my visual and my hearing that Obama has committed high treason and multiple times, and I'm embarrassed that Romney is so milquetoast about the matter. That is an act of war. He should say it's an act of war, and we will retaliate.
Well, and I appreciate the call, James. Thank you for that. And I agree. Barack Obama's response has been to use the harshest adjectives he can find in the dictionary. It's not to mobilize military strength. It's not to issue any sort of a demand about what Egypt or the Libyan government needs to do at this point. He's just trying to find stronger and stronger words to use. That's his response. And it's pitifully weak. It's ineffective. There was a lot he did not say that he should have said, that he could have said. Mitt Romney was just pilloried for coming out and making critical comments, weighing in on this thing, and the media jumped all over him. And he issued another statement. To his credit, he wasn't intimidated by that at all. But, you're looking at a situation where, and the Obama administration has tried to back away from this abject apology that the embassy sent out, but the embassy people are standing by it. I mean, the White House says, look, that doesn't represent the way we look at this. That doesn't represent the White House position. But the embassy people over there saying, oh, yeah, it does. That's how we feel about it. They apologized for comments that hurt the religious beliefs of others. Can you believe that? Comments that hurt the religious beliefs of others. Well, I'll tell you, down in the South, Freedom from Religion Foundation is getting pregame prayers before high school football games banned in every state and school district in the South. I guarantee you that hurts the religious beliefs of others, but you don't see the Obama administration carrying one whit about that. They're happy to have the religious beliefs of others hurt as long as they are conservative Christians. Focal Point AFR Talk, back in 2.